Hey there, sheepdoggers, and welcome to another Blood Bowl 2 tips and tricks video. This one is going to be for Chaos. I am Double Skull Sheepdog, yay! And we're going to be doing a very quick guide to a Chaos team. Now, I have a Chaos team already, but I'm going to start off, of course, talking about how to build your team before we get into anything else. So, my recommendation for Chaos is automatic 3 rerolls minimum starting off, and I wouldn't advise more than 3 rerolls. If you want to be dangerous, you may be willing to go to less rerolls, but my personal recommendation, considering none of them start with any skills except for the Minotaur, and the Minotaur, you know, is obviously the big guy of the family. You don't want to start with any more than a minimum of 3 rerolls. So let's just there we go. Random team name. Nope. Okay, so again, what you want to do first is you want to go over and get 3 rerolls. Now, this setup I'm gonna talk about. I'm actually going to give you 2 possibilities, but one I would recommend, one I would not recommend, and neither of them has an apothecary. Like the dwarves, you don't exactly need one. I mean, obviously, you know, there's always a chance in your first match you're going to lose players, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's up to you in essence. But I would say you can get away for the first match, maybe the first 2 matches, without an apothecary. But you should buy one as soon as you can as your first purchase. Now, the setup I'm going to advise is 4 Chaos Warriors, 7 Beastmen, for a total of 11 players. So full on Chaos Warriors, and then 11 Beastmen, like so. Leaves you with no money left over, so you'll need at least 50,000 to get the first one. But the reason I advise this is because it gives you 4 Chaos Warriors right out of the bat, and you know they're really strong. You know, they've got strength 4, agility 3, armor value 9, and 5 movement. So the movement's not amazing. You don't exactly want them to be your ball carriers, but they're still really overall they're really strong. The Beastmen, strength 3, agility 3, armor value 8, you know, not too bad. Movement 6, not amazing. And they've got horns, which means every turn you get an extra player with +1 strength, because you can make a blitz. And this is really the epitome of why I don't advise you getting a Minotaur. Now, the thing about the Minotaur, as we go in here, you can see he's got Wild Animal. After declaring an action with Wild Animal, roll a d6, adding 2 to the roll if taking a block or blitz action. So if you're trying to fight someone, if you're trying to do a block action or a blitz, you only need a 2+ to get it. If you're just moving him, then you're always going to be having a 50% chance of him not doing what you want and just standing there and doing nothing. Now it's the same as the Rat Ogre, but the thing I'll say about this is, if you're playing, for example, against an elf team, they're always going to be dodging out your way. They're always going to be getting away from you, and that means that the Minotaur very often in so many fights will be needing to move to get into block position, and he doesn't have the benefit of the Rat Ogre with his prehensile tail, which reduces dodge. You know, this guy, people can just jump out the way of him as much as they want, basically, and he doesn't start with any real skills aside from, you know, the kind of standard stuff and horns. And adding +1 to his strength for any block he makes during blitz is, you know, it's all right, but you have an entire team here, an entire team of beastmen who can do the same thing, who can move further, who don't have wild animal, you know, who you will end up wanting to use on the blitzes. So the addition of a Minotaur is a later thing. You know, you could even argue that you don't need a Minotaur. Of course, if you're trying to play the best team ever, as it were, yeah, you could easily leave out a Minotaur and focus on these guys. You know, they've got their mutation level ups, they've got all that kind of thing. They're really good. So leaving a Minotaur out of the team entirely is perfectly valid for what he brings to the table. Now, if you start leveling up a Minotaur, he can turn into a powerhouse of pain. You know, like get him tentacles and things like that, and he can be awesome. But that's only if you manage to level him up. You could end up with a Minotaur who barely gets any level at all, barely gets any SPP, while the rest of your guys are off being awesome and stuff. So, you know, it's a possibility. So, this is what I advise. 3 rerolls, 4 Chaos Warriors, and 7 Beastmen. Now, let's reset that. The other thing you can do, if you really want to, if you want to get... I'd say it's a more bashy team, but it's not exactly... You know, it's not... You consider it a more bashy team because it's got a Minotaur in it. But it's not really. And it's that, basically. It's 1 Minotaur, 1 Chaos Warrior, 9 Beastmen. But I really don't... I don't advise it because it's better to get your Chaos Warriors leveling up first. Because your Chaos Warriors, you know, they're a bit more versatile, they're a bit more useful. They can even ball carry, you know, if you cage up and move forward slowly like that. They got the strength 4, you know, all that kind of thing. So I feel like in essence it's better to do without the Chaos Minotaur. And also, you know, if you get that horrific first game where you just get destroyed randomly because of bad luck or anything, and your Minotaur loses strength or gets killed, or, you know, anything that makes him useless, basically. If any of that happens, then, you know, you're out a Minotaur. I mean, you could remove a Chaos... sorry. Let's... pardon me. Let's reset that. You could remove a Chaos Warrior, get up to 11... like this, and then you have enough for an apothecary as well. I don't think anyone would be wanting to do that, but those are your options if you want. Let's just delete this team because I always forget to delete it at the time. But yeah, I'd say you'll see in a moment my my chaos team. There they are. We actually had a horrific game. It was chaos versus chaos, and we really did have a horrific game. Is it my only game? No, we had... oh yeah, there we go. We played against Bretonians. I'll show you that game. This one was just rife with double skulls, reroll double skulls, single skull rerolls. It was chaos versus chaos, and I got to the point where I had to make, you know, like desperate moves to do anything, and I just got destroyed. So it happens. And here you can see very quickly, for example, you can see this dude has fractured arm. But the first level up I picked, I had a choice. You know, with Chaos, you can always pick mutations. You see, mutations are single dice. So if you just get a regular roll, you can always pick mutations, which is really good because there's some great mutations you can get, especially on like your Chaos Warriors and etc. And I had to basically choose between getting block to chuck people on the front line, or getting a mutation, or, you know, you can get strength as well. So, you know, the question is always, like, should I get block first? Should I get kick? You know, what should I get? And my advice here was, as Chaos, you know, you've got the bash down. Like, you know, other kind of bashy teams can pull ahead of you in that respect. But if you have, for example, one Beastman who you can keep back who has extra arms, you now have a player who, anytime he attempts to pick up, catch, or intercept, he's treated as if he has agility 4. Massively useful. Honestly, massively useful. You know, so like you don't have like an automatic reroll, but it just kind of this is the great thing about Chaos. This is why Chaos is such a strong team mid and late game, is because you can so easily fill the roles that you don't yet have with the mutations and then with the other skills. You know, if you roll doubles and stuff, like, great, you can take some dodge, you can take stuff like, you know, stuff along those lines. But at the end of the day, the really important thing is that it's another missed game. I think this game okay. The very important thing is that you can literally go like, I need a ball carrier. I need someone who can pick up the ball. There you go. You know, Painted Lady is there. You know, with the ability to catch, with the ability to pick up, like an elf would. You know, you can give one of your Chaos Warriors Claw. You know, instantly you have a Chaos Warrior with Claw. You've got a Strength 4 guy who can quite literally just negate armor, almost. You know, every single armor roll he does has to be 8+, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what Claw is. You know, Mighty Blow adds to the armor and injury roll. You can turn them into, you know, really destructive forces. Or if you roll a double, you can give a Chaos Warrior dodge and block, and suddenly you've got a Strength 4 guy who can carry a ball, who can, you know, who can just kind of be very hard to put down. Give him block, dodge, and guard, and, you know, there you go. Like, that's a really sticky guy who can add to the strength of everyone else. You know, it's that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to watch the Pretty Butterfly versus the Knights Who Say Knee. And this is in the competition. Okay, so League Sheepdoggers competition official sheepdog ladder. So it's official. It's an official ladder, and yeah, you know, it's and you can see that's where Painted Lady leveled up as well. It was I'd say it was a fairly unfortunate game for him. There was a fair amount of bad luck, and yeah, I felt there were a couple of times where I felt a little bad, just purely because of, you know, because I know what it's like to have bad luck like that. When you see someone else have bad luck like that, you're just like, oh, that sucks, man. I don't feel great. And also, for anyone who's wondering, they're called Pretty Butterfly because of the chaos theory, you know, the butterfly effect. Every time I see Pretty Butterfly now, I think of that Sugar Ray song, you know, come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. I don't know. So yeah, it actually annoys me now. But we'll persist with Pretty Butterfly and all of our other teams. I'm going to be doing tip videos on all of the races that have been implemented with the release of the game. So once the Lizardmen come out, once the Wood Elves come out, I'll be doing a tip video on them as well. However, I'm not as good with the Lizardmen or Wood Elves. I'm not as good with the Bretonnians or the High Elves. I'll do tip videos on them. But I will say at the beginning of the tip video, you know, keep in mind, I'm not the best, so just... Okay, so the Bretonnians are not really, especially starting out, they're not really a kind of agility team, they're not really a Parsi team. They're slightly more bashing than anything else, but still, they're not that bashy or anything. And you can see, here's the setup, and kind of... what I'd advise for a Chaos team is, like, this kind of setup is pretty good. You know, you got your strong guys close to the front. You know, they don't have high movement. So having them back here isn't that worthwhile. You know, they're not going to be able to move as far to deal with threats to the side. But with this setup here, you have two beastmen ready to move to change, you know, depending on where they need to go. And the important thing is they have blitz. So if the enemy team, say for example we're playing against an elf team, if an elf team, you know, moves guys back through here, then, you know, you're just gonna be like, okay, well, sorry, I'm pretty sure I chose to defend because oh yeah, this happened. So yeah, his luck didn't start terribly because his guy knocked the thing out for a start, and for a second, 5 of my guys got knocked the fuck out, and one of his got knocked out. But yeah, so if an elf, like, you know, brings a couple of receivers down this way, you know, he's starting to do his running game. then you have these guys here who can be strength 4 easily enough to respond to that. And that's why you want a couple of beastmen back. Later on, of course, you can kind of later on you can change it so that you have beastmen specifically designed to deal with elves who like getting behind your main line, who like throwing and you know, all that kind of thing. So, you know, but to begin with, just one beastman at the back, you know, ready to not stunned, preferably, ready to blitz and take out that strength 3 bullshit, strength 3 agility 4 bullshit. Now, the one thing I will say is, as a chaos team playing against, you know, kind of humans, orcs, etc., you can easily go the bashy route. You know, like it's perfectly viable. You know, it's a matter of luck. It's a matter of all those things. But at the end of the day, you know, the chaos team is bashy. And starting out, you don't have the ability. You won't be wanting to do that many passings. You won't be wanting to do that much in the way of, well, you know, any kind of elf style nonsense you won't want to be doing. That said, with that said, you are able to do some passing. You're able, especially as you level your guys up, you're able to more easily do that. To begin with, your passing, your running game is all going to be dependent on the situation. So you need to look at it and go, I do have 3 agility, so it is possible I can do this. It's possible I can do that. You know, like the possibility is there that you can make a pass, you know, a longer pass. The possibility is there that you can hand off and then do a short pass and then try and like do the running game. The thing is, it's not going to be your first go-to move. So one of the important things to start off with when you're playing Chaos is to start figuring out, you know, when you need to do those things. You know, because you have no skills, you have no catch or pass or anything like that that gives you an automatic reroll on a fail. You know, you're going to be using your rerolls a lot more often if you're not careful. So yeah, there's that. You've got yeah, again, this isn't the best game to be to start off with doing tips and that, because literally everyone got knocked down. You know, he could easily-ish just charge around. And yeah, it honestly wasn't the best. I mean, I kind of managed to do a little bit of covering for myself, but this could very easily have been a touchdown here. And you know, like the thing about the oh, there's the blitz. You see, like just going after his blitzers, because obviously, as any team fighting against Bretonnians, the blitzers are usually the biggest worry. You know, the blockers are good, and from what I can see, they can be leveled up quite decently. Okay, and you see there, like, you know, I'm at the end of my turn. I'm trying to 1 dice this guy, and I actually thought it was 2 dice because I didn't see this guy in base-to-base contact with the other guy. But you can see, like, I got a skull and I didn't re-roll it. Like, even though that guy's gonna get knocked down and everything, I didn't re-roll it because it just wasn't worth it. You know, like, you don't want to use a re-roll in a fight as Chaos unless you get unlucky right at the beginning, and you know your Chaos Warrior gets 2 dice, 2 skulls. You don't want to be re-rolling it. And here again, great example: 2 dice, horns. You know, like you have the great thing about Chaos, and the thing you always have to remember is you always have an opportunity for any of your player to have 4 strength, which is just brilliant. You know, like, any of your players, if you want, can have 4 strength. You know, as long as you don't waste your blitz on kind of, like, I'd say in general, unless it's oh, look at this. This is my favorite block of all time. That just is awesome. I love it. Yeah, so just remember, like, you know, your Chaos Warriors, you know, you do want to get injuries with them and everything, but at the same time, you know, your Beastmen having your Blitz is too useful. So you always want to be thinking, like, you know, do I want to Blitz with my Chaos Warriors when I can get a fifth? Sorry, when I can get a fifth 4 strength character for this match. And I did re-roll that because I wanted to go and pick up the ball. So dodge failed, re-roll. You know, that's the kind of thing you wanna use your re-rolls on, is stuff that is more important than the bashing. And it's weird to say that as a Chaos team, I know. But like your bashing, like, never re-roll a push as a Chaos team. It's not at the beginning anyway, definitely. Like, when you're starting out, never re-roll a push. You know, if you've picked up the ball, you know, if you're in this kind of situation here and you're doing 1 dice, and you're doing like 2 dice and 1 dice, and you're just finishing off your bashing. That again, like, you can see what I mean. He was very unfortunate here. 2 skulls is always a skull reroll skull on a guy with, I think this guy's got block and everything, so that's just unfortunate. But yeah, as I said, like, you know, you're always going to be wanting to re-roll to get that bash in. You know, you want to get the downs, you want to knock them down, you want to injure them, you want to mess them up. You know, that's the point of a Chaos team, is just to be as bashy as all hell. But the problem with this is it leads to you doing bad re-rolls and losing the game. Now, as a Chaos team, if you're playing against Elves, for example, you can expect to get dicked on, score-wise. You know, there are times when you'll have a perfect defense. The Elves will just dodge all the way through it. You know, have like 4 catchers in your danger zone where they can just throw right past you and screw you over. And it's gonna happen, you know, like. There are times when you just go, fuck it, I'll bash. I'll just smash his guys down, let him score, and try and get a touchdown back. And that's a perfectly valid strategy. You know, if you ever find yourself against an Elf team, against a Skaven team, where they're literally just beating the crap out of you, you know, feel absolutely free to go, screw this, I'm gonna bash the crap out of these guys. You know. Never let an Elf team or a Skaven team trick you into playing the passing game, into playing, you know, those kind of things like that. Oh yeah, and you see, like, the Knights Who Say Knee, Kaeldon is doing a very good job of dealing with his bad luck as well as he can. You know, he's getting some good blocks off, and you know. It's pretty hard to deal with that many, like, you know, just, I mean, at the end of the day, he may not have wanted to do a single block there, but he felt he had to try and take my ball carrier down, and that was completely not the wrong choice. You know, like, you could kind of see the situation over here. Like, I just picked up the ball, I had guys around the ball. If he didn't knock down that ball carrier, boop. If he didn't knock down that ball carrier, then I was away with the ball, and he had an opportunity to blitz 1 dice. That's fairly good considering the situation he was in. He was just massively unlucky that his reroll was a skull. You know, like, starting off skull, yeah, sure. Another skull is just, you know, that's end of the turn, and that's massively unlucky. So you can see, like, you know, turn 6, it was his ball pickup. So this is unfortunate for him. You know, he's going to be facing a difficult time in the second half, because I'm going to have the ball and I can force him into a very bashy game. Now, the Bretonnians aren't you know, an agility team. They're not a non-bashy team, but they're not as bashy as the Chaos, and you want to try and avoid, if you can, you want to try and avoid bashing with a Chaos team to the most extent. You know, it's situational dependent. If you get a couple of early injuries, if you foul someone like a dirty bastard, yeah, you know, you're perfectly able to play a bashing game. But you have to go with the situation, and if it's just not working for you, then you have to accept that. Anyway, Chaos. Basic Chaos plan on offense is go for the knockdowns, go for the injuries, you know, slowly work your ball forward in a cage, and just, you know, try and play the numbers game. Once you've got a couple of injuries, you'll have the advantage. You'll be able to, you know, play the injury game a lot better than they can. And yeah, you should be set for a good old time. I don't think we get any injuries in this. You know, sometimes the dice just aren't with you, and you don't get any injuries, you don't get any kills, you don't get many KOs, and you just have to play the game how you can. And you saw it was 3-0 on this. Like, I did a good job of bashing him down and all that, but at the end of the day, there wasn't that much there in the ways of injuries and everything, so I went for touchdowns. I think he may have actually... Did he concede? I don't think he conceded. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty sure if he concedes, it's 2-0, and the end score is 3-0. You don't expect a first match Chaos team to win 3-0. Let's just say that. You don't expect a first match Chaos team to win 3-0. So yeah, let's go over to the second half, and you can see my kind of, again, you can see the basis of my defense. It's very aggressive. If I was playing against elves, however, I would pull these guys back. You know, these guys would be back a couple of squares, and I'd be a lot deeper in my backline defense. You know, same if I'm playing against Skaven. If I'm playing against like orcs or something like that, you know, I'd probably have my 4 strength guys in the area to deal with their 4 strength guys, and you know, that kind of thing. Basically, the Chaos, and again, you want to be saving your rerolls either for your kind of star minotaurs, saving your apothecary rolls for either your star minotaurs, you know, your really important guy who has, you know, what you need, or your Chaos Warriors. You can buy more Beastmen if they die, if they get injured. You can replace your Beastmen. You don't want to be replacing your Chaos Warriors. So if you lose a Beastman, which in the next game I actually did lose a Beastman, you can live with that. What you want is to save your Apothecary for those rare moments when your Chaos Warriors die, depending on your luck, rare moments. So yeah, again, as a Chaos team, I've got 2 turns left, so it is possible that I can go after another touchdown. Unlikely, but it is possible. There you go. And just a little extra tip for those of you who want to know how to face, you know, Chaos and all that kind of thing. Again, you know, you can just do your best to sideline them, to surf them, basically. You know. Oh, there we go. That's a reroll because, well, yep. There we go. And that puts pressure on him. He's got no rerolls left, so, you know, I've got a reroll. It's possible I can pick up. I'm pretty sure, actually, at this point, yeah, I can't actually score a touchdown. I couldn't get quite far enough, but okay. So anyway, let's. As far as I remember, there weren't any injuries or anything like that, and that's not what we're here for anyway. So let's go to the second half. Okay, second half. This is my kind of offensive setup. Let's just switch to Go forward. There we go. So there you go. So I've got, you can see here, he thought he was, to be fair to him, he thought he was defending. He thought he was attacking, like receiving the ball. A bit of a misplay, but it happens. And... Boop. And yeah, you can see my kind of response to that was, of course, to go in for the bash. Because Chaos Team, you know, try and injure those linemen. If you decrease his, even though the Bretonnian linemen are very much like the Skaven linemen, you know, just get rid of, you know, sacrifice them if you have to. Still, if you decrease the numbers, it makes it easier for you. And you know, getting a lot of beatdowns on these armor value 7s are really useful. You know, I've got my cage up here. You know, it's not a strong cage. There's no Chaos Warriors on it. He can get around. He can do a little bit of nonsense with it. But still, at the end of the day, it's still a cage. It's still something he has to get through, and he's not going to be able to break it this turn. So I can, if necessary, move my Chaos Warriors around, deal with like kind of respond to what he's doing. Cause, you know, if for example, if you're playing as an elf team, they're going to be able to dodge around you, all that kind of thing. You know, they're going to be able to get 2 dice blocks on you with all those dodges and ridiculousness. So really, like, you can see here basically the way I've done this is I've brought my cage immediately in to my where I want to be bashing with my Chaos Warriors. Now, even though they're not that maneuverable, which you can see if it will let me show you. Yep, down he goes. Yeah, so you can see even though they're not that maneuverable, you know, they're not bad, but oh, of course, double skulls straight off the bat, awesome. Even though they're not that maneuverable, now the center of attention is here, and especially with newer elf teams, they will still just go straight into you. Oh, and here's another technique that you can learn as well. It's basically kind of juggling. You know, you block juggle, and you can move an enemy. You can move an enemy player down the line of your blockers. You know, if you're in a if we had like 2 or 3 more guys here, you can block this guy, push him this way until you get a knockdown. So that kind of thing's really useful as well. And you see there, like, it'd be really nice to knock that dude down, maybe get an injury on him even, but save the rerolls. Always save the rerolls. Especially considering, like, the first block I threw was a sorry, there we go. The first block I threw was a double skull. You know, if I'd already used my rerolls, you know, later in the game, later in the half, then that would have been turnover, and he'd have been able to do a lot more to me. He'd have even probably been able to get a 1 dice at least block on my ball carrier. So yeah, you know, the chaos, especially starting out, the chaos are very, very simplistic, because they don't have any skills. You know, there's not that much you can do with them except for do a lot of bash in, pick up the ball whenever you can, run your beastmen in. Usually your beastmen will be your touchdown scorers, especially later on, because you'll be using your Chaos Warriors to overwhelm the enemy. You know, most of the time they'll be throwing 2 dice blocks. Unfortunate, but this time at least it wasn't 2 skulls in a row. And you know, again here you see the versatility at least of the beastmen, because you know I've got a ball carrier, and I've got this guy as well. I've got this guy on the ground. All I need to do now, you know, cover my bases obviously a little bit, and then just blitz with my downed beastman, knock him down. Yep. Knock him down, and then they're free to carry on. Now, as a Chaos player, one tactic that I don't use here, you know, I didn't use it last half, I don't use it on this half either, is you can cage up on the touchdown line and just bash them as long as you can. You know, keep going for those injuries, and then, you know, you can win 1-0. And it's not an invalid tactic, because the Chaos are pretty bashy. So, you know, it's up to you what you want to do. Like, sometimes you just want to bash the team down, especially if they've got some good players. You may get conceded on. You know, it's a valid tactic if you're just getting bashed on. If you're not going to win, to just go, screw it, I'm going to concede. And I think when I show you guys my... I think it was my Dark Elf match versus High Elf that he conceded. I think it was my Dark Elf High Elf match which he conceded. But yeah. Okay, so I'm kind of starting to run out of things to say, to advise for the kind of Chaos team as it is. So I guess what we'll talk about is level ups. Now, the first thing I'd advise is trying to decide, you know, like, exactly how bashy you want to go, because the thing is all of the Chaos teams, they start with mutations. You know, they start with mutations. They start with rude, very rude, but understandable. And yeah, he got sent off. So yeah, the first thing you got to decide is where you want to take it, because you can take it really bashy, and that's what, you know, a first-time Chaos player will want to do. You know, they'll want, the first time you level up a Beastman, you'll want to take like Mighty Blow, you want to take Claw, you know, you want to turn him from just a regular Chaos lineman Beastman type, you want to turn him into a killer. But you've got to wonder, you know, like, is that what you really want to do? Is there any use in Mighty Blow for your first skill for a Beastman, in your first level up for a Beastman, if you can't pick up the ball? Because then, if you're playing an Elf team, all they're going to do is they're going to be like, yeah, mate, great, you can kill my guys, but it doesn't matter if I keep scoring touchdowns on you every 2 or 3 turns, because it just resets and keeps going, you know, and that kind of thing. So, you know, yeah, it's great to get someone with a little bit of stopping power, with a little bit of killing power, but at the end of the day, if you don't get a chance to use it, then there's no point. So the first thing I'd advise is something along the lines of, for example, something to slow down the turnovers, or something to give you more rerolls on actions where you're likely to get a turnover. So, for example, Sure Hands is a good first choice. I went for Extra Arms because it meant I have more to pick up the ball and to catch the ball. I do sometimes run a throwing game, so catching the ball is also important for me. So I went with Extra Arms. But if you're not going to be throwing, if you're just going to be caging and slowly working your way up the pitch, then it's a very valid tactic to take, for example, Sure Hands first pick, because then you've got a reroll on your pickup, which is awesome. So, you know, again, it's up to you. You could take Kick if you're having issues with, like, just the kick in general. Yeah, take Kick. Is a good first one. You know, you can go 3 block first for your front lineman. And actually, I'm gonna be talking about block and dodge and things like that as well. There you go. Okay, so you can see here, this is the kind of thing I meant by the juggling. Unfortunately, he didn't carry on. Well, he couldn't carry on with it, but and there, that right there is a perfect example of a possibly bad reroll decision. You know, he wanted to beat down on my Beastman at this point. He was drawn into the bashy game, and he re-rolled a push Sorry, he re-rolled double both downs, even though, you know, he's got wrestle on that guy, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. He re-rolled it because he wanted to knock him down. And you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go for the knockdowns on almost any team, unless very situational dependent. But you know, there are a few examples where it may work, but you don't know it's going to work until you do it. You want to be minimizing the. You want to basically be picking up the ball. You know, until you've picked up the ball, don't use a reroll, because you can just end up getting loads of turnovers and things like that. So yeah, you know. And again, with skills, I'd say, you know, Chaos Warriors, you've got the choice. Do you take Mighty Blow? Do you take Claw? Do you take Block? Now, for the most part, I'd say take Block, because that will minimize the number of times you get turned over by double both down or skull both down, you know, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if you're playing in a league, if you're playing in a place where you're playing against dwarves, you're playing against orcs, you're playing against all of those, possibly you get Claw. You know, tailor it to your situation. That's what the versatility of a Chaos team is, its biggest strength. You know, if you're playing against a whole load of kind of bashy high armor teams, you know, get Claw on a couple of your Chaos Warriors, and then get some agility type skills for your Chaos Beastmen. You know, to the point where you have a decent throwing / agility game, and then suddenly you're the team that can do a little bit of damage. You know, you can hold your own in bashing, but at the same time you're running rings around all those dwarves. You know, they can't catch your beastmen. You know, you're throwing, you're passing, you're dodging, and they can't do anything about it. You know, double heads is a great example. You have 2 heads and it adds 1 to your dodge roll. That gives you agility 4 when dodging. You know, so you've basically turned your beastman into a kind of warrior, into a elf, just a regular elf when it comes to jumping out of the way, which is really useful. And again, you know, he got a bad dice. He didn't have the reroll for picking up. Like, unfortunate, very unfortunate. And you can see, like, I'm still sticking to the bashing game mostly, but I just want to put a little pressure on him up here. You know, again, he's not going to want to use the reroll to block, so he's more likely to go for the ball. Maybe he'll drop it again, even with a reroll. I can pick it up, score a touchdown, all the while doing a bit of bashing. Always fun. Look at those Chaos Warriors, they're awesome. One thing I did forget, and you can see I'm doing it now, is before I bash, I should have picked my guys up, you know, put them in position. Honest mistake. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a Bretonian talk. You know, I'll talk about how to Bretonian and etc. The game I have in mind is a little unconventional, I'd say, but you'll see it, and you know, I'll talk about the general stuff you want to be doing and all that. So yeah, you know, we're getting towards the end of the game. I've had a little talk about skills, and you know, kind of the thing is with mutations you have like this, you have this beautiful world of opportunities and options and stuff, and you know, mutations are new and fairly unique. It's just the Ratman, it's just the Skaven and the yeah, there you go. He managed to pick it up. He used his reroll on that. It's just the Skaven and the and the Chaos who can use them, so they're really interesting, for sure. But you know, sometimes just taking 3 blocks on Beastmen gives you more survivability on that front line. You know, when you have to kick the ball to them and it's their go first, you don't want to put all your Chaos Warriors on there. You know, just put 3 Beastmen on there, and then, you know, deal with it from there. And if they have block, it gives a higher chance of a turnover for you if they don't have block on their guys. And yeah, it gives you the opportunity to, you know, kind of deal with situations as they arise. and a bit more survivability on your guys. Of course. And, of course. Now, you see, if I'd had extra arms there, that would have been awesome. But I didn't. So that was a turnover. I wanted to go for the touchdown. He wanted to do a little damage to my guys. I think at this point he'd given up. I don't think he can really get out of that. Except for with dodging. He only has one reroll. You know. So let's just go forward a turn. Was that forward a turn? So yeah, you see, he's just bashing away, and it's a shit. It's just the replay thing isn't as good as I'd hoped. Okay, so yeah, he tried to dodge out and blitz my guy, you know, kind of get to the ball. I think he re-rolled and failed. No, did he re-roll and? That's right, he re-rolled and is going for it, failed. That's what happened. And then obviously, you know, I have the opportunity here to pick up with my Chaos Warrior. You know, because Chaos Warrior, 3 agility, that's fine. That's the same as the Beastman. And then just touchdown. So yeah, the only other things I'll say is kind of, you know, go with mutations when you think they'll help. When, you know, it's situational dependent. You know, it makes your guys. All of your guys really versatile. You know, if you happen to get plus agility on one of your Chaos Warriors, then give him agility stuff, by all means. You know, like, a strength 4, agility 4 Chaos Warrior is fucking strong. You know, he can suddenly be a real force to be reckoned with in the passing, dodging game, you know? So, like be open to changing how your team is depending on your roles, but you know, don't automatically go for claw and mighty blow when you can save your rerolls. You know, like if you get block on all of your Chaos Warriors, suddenly both down is fine. You know, you can accept that both down. You can save your rerolls for pickups, for occasional throws, passes, and etc. And it also means, like, you know. Instead of re-rolling, or even Grizzled Skipper got injured. I remember that. He was very happy about that. Yeah, so you know, like if you start off with your Chaos Warriors and get like 2 both down, you know, 2 skull explosions, as it were, you don't have to re-roll that. And if you're out of rerolls, it means you don't get a turnover. Or if you've already used your reroll, it means you don't get a turnover, and you can keep bashing. You know, if you've got more blocks there, kind of more blocks ready, you've got more chances to do injuries. So in actuality, you know, I'd say play in the numbers game here. If you're thinking about, you know, in terms of what gives you more likelihood to actually injure, taking block, for example, can actually give you more chance to get injuries and stuff than a mighty blow or a claw will. I'm talking in general here, you know, like if you have an entire team with mighty blow and claw, then yeah, that's going to be dangerous, but... And there you go. That is the Chaos team. So what we're going to do, what we're going to be doing is I'll be doing the Dark Elf team next. I'll do the Bretonnian after that, and finally I'll do the High Elves. Now, I'm not great with the High Elves. I've got a feel for the Bretonnian team, but I haven't made a High Elf team. I haven't done a High Elf team. So it's just, the High Elf team's going to be the most basic, and I'll kind of be basing it on my Dark Elves kind of play. The High Elves are a bit more... I find the High Elves kind of bland for my taste, but they're really good, don't get me wrong. I just find them a little bit bland. So there you go, guys. That is my chaos tips, tricks, and etc. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope it helped. I've had so many people coming into my stream and saying, dude, you know, I couldn't win any games, and then I watched your video, and I was like, yes, of course, and then won games. I was just like, the response I've gotten, the feedback I've gotten from those videos have been insane. So yeah, I'm so happy about that. and I'll definitely be doing tip videos for all of the races, and I may even go into more advanced stuff if I feel comfortable with it, because, you know, I'm not like that pro or anything. I don't know. So, yeah, as I said, I hope this video helped you. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.